What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your lady's favorite YouTube channel. We have a lot to talk about today and a very little time to cover it, but we're going to get through it each and every step of the way. We got to talk about Juventus, the players that are coming back, the players that are leaving. We got to talk about the administration, and of course, we got to talk about the coach. And it's not even summertime yet. We still have one more game to play. Stick with us. We're going to fill you in right now. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. It's finally a month of summer. It is June 1st, 2023. Of course, I got your latest rundown of all things Juventus, all the news you crowd each and every single day. Before we do anything though, do me a favor, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, of course hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. And without any further ado, actually one more further ado, I'm going to do this because I need it, and I'm going to keep forcing it on you guys, but this is just real quick. If you could, pop it over here right now. Now we like Talk Like Men podcast channel. We're going to have some fun, do some nonsense, but of course, more importantly, for you all, if you haven't seen already, first 100 people that are subscribed to the channel will be entered in to win a Bianconeri Zone shirt. You know, the horse head, not this one, but the little horse head with the green, white, or black options. You are very, very close. We're probably going to hit that today. So if you don't do that, now, you won't have an opportunity to win that shirt. Like I said, it'll be the easiest opportunity you could ever have to win a Bianconeri Zone shirt or to win any kind of giveaway right now. First 100 people that are subscribed get into that right now. All right. Let's get into it. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the news that we have. And one of the things I could say is our man, the guy, ROMEO AGRESTI, came out. I don't want to say hiding, but he came out and he had a lot of things to talk about when it came to Juventus, the man who we used to talk about as the Bible of Juve. If he said it, it's true. It is the word. I don't know how much I still believe that. With the switching up of the administration, it's always going to be, you know, some information sources are going to change. But at the same time, when he comes out, we still listen and we still got to talk about it. All right, so let's get into it. And probably going to give you a little bit less of commentary by me unless I really feel like I need to, probably because there's a lot to get through. First up, ROMEO AGRESTI is talking about Szczęsny and what he will do with his future at the club. He says that Szczęsny has a contract until 2024, but he has an option based on played minutes for an extra year. Well, we also got an update from that one just a little bit ago where he said that Szczęsny has already extended his contract with Juventus until 2025. So you will see him in the white and black until 2025. Where will Juventus go from there? We'll see if they try to extend him. Maybe they go back to the Donnarumma well. We will see about that one. Let's continue on. Other player to talk about, that of Milik. ROMEO AGRESTI says that Milik wants to remain at Juventus. The club, however, is taking their time also because management is going through a transition. That's one thing. Obviously, we all need to keep very, very well in mind that when it comes to this club, it's a club in flux. It's a club in transition. When these new guys come in, say Gentoli comes in, say another coach, Conte comes back, Tudor, whoever it is, they come in, they're going to want their players, their guys, whoever they want to get. So things could change, obviously. Who will end up staying, who will end up coming in, all those things are definitely under flux. We continue on and go on and talk about an update when it comes to one guy, our man, Wadi C. Well, it seems like that extra season or so of him staying for the club was all but confirmed right now. There's still an opportunity for him to be shipped out and go somewhere else. Rudy Galetti is reporting that Juan Cuadrado received an official proposal from Saudi Arabia. He is seriously considering the bid. So there's still an opportunity that he could decide to go somewhere else, and maybe Juventus won't be stuck with another year of Juan Cuadrado. I'm sorry, I don't need it. I've said it enough on this channel. You're telling me there's a chance, all right? All right, let's continue on talking about another player. Obviously, Dusan Vlahovic is very heavily talked about in the news lately because it seems like since Juventus are not going to be making Champions League, partly your fault, my guy. But anyway, not making Champions League is going to be obviously looking at him, maybe trying to peruse his options, see where he could go. ROMEO says that I believe Vlahovic could really move at this moment in time. Bayern is the most serious club. However, there are no offers that have been made so far. So right now, nobody's put any money out on the table for Juventus for them to even consider. So for right now, Vlahovic is a Juve player. But again, we'll see what happens. We know Manchester United, Chelsea, all those other clubs are definitely in the hunt as well. We move on and talk about a guy who is leaving, is going to be out of here for Juventus, and that is Di Maria. He gives a little bit more insight into what happened there, and ROMEO says that up to the away game at Sevilla, there were still talks with Di Maria, but after that game, the club decided to stop talks. and how was willing to stay. It was probably a bit surprised by the decision. So that's kind of been interesting that it wasn't just a last minute, that it wasn't a, obviously a long-term kind of thing. It was more of an option that they were just kind of like, no, we realized that moment, no more for Di Maria, time to move forward. All right. Let's continue on and let's get to another player, but we're going to get to a younger player now. And Juventus, the only thing I can really say when it comes to this news story is that Juventus stay Juventusing. And if you know what I'm saying by that, you know what you're getting into. And that, of course, involves Sule with Juventus, the young player a lot of people love, a lot of people have a lot of investment in. And Romeo goes on to say that from people working at the club, I hear that Sule has great potential to become a Mezzala. A Mezzala. Yeah, you're hearing it. Yeah, you hear that right. Juventus is going to try to change it up when it comes to him. Another player, play him out of position. Let's move him up to Mezzala. Let's move him there, and that's what we're going to do. Not a smart move if you ask me personally. It wouldn't be my cup of tea, but it is what it is. That's what they want to do. All right, let's continue on. Let's actually get into the other young players and their futures with the club or out of the club. Romeo goes on to say he hits on these pretty quickly. The chances are high that Rovella will stay at Juventus. I think a lot of people want to see that. Obviously, he kind of showed us some good things for Juve back in the summer before in the early season for Juventus, but they decided not to keep him. Cambiaso will be looked at during preseason, so we'll see about that one. Yildiz and Huijin will be part of the preseason tour. Offers from the Premier League could arrive for Iling Jr. as well. So obviously we'll see what those young guys, which guys filter in, which ones are going to see their way back to the youth league. But also more importantly, Samuel Iling Jr., that one's going to hurt. Samuel Iling Jr. showed a lot of promise for Juventus, a lot of good moments for the club recently, but for him to end up leaving would be a big hit for Juve, especially right now when you're trying to work on building a new squad. All right, and then as we move on, we're going to continue to talk about some of the other players. Obviously, that Juventus, I don't know why I keep refreshing, like y'all don't know that I'm talking about players. We're talking players. A couple of these guys are guys that we thought we got rid of, but now that they're coming back, what does their future hold? Well, Romeo Agresti talking about Zaccaria, says that Zaccaria will return to Juventus, but there are already teams that are interested in him. And then as well, in the second part of this, Romeo Agresti says that Juventus have been informed that Chelsea will not trigger the buy option clause for Zaccaria, which is obviously both of these go hand in hand. It's the same story, but Chelsea's not going to buy him. Who else are going to be interested in? Where will they go? We don't have any news on that currently. I don't know if there's anybody that's currently interested and would like to see him be retained at Juventus. If you are, let me know in the comment section down below. Keeping on the same track, we're going to go move on to another player that's the exact same situation, and that is of Artur Melo. Romeo Agresti is saying that Juventus is trying to understand if Artur has offers from La Liga on loan. If they find that out, that's where he'll probably be going. If not, we continue to try to figure out the situation, the Rubik's Cube that is going to be Artur Melo and, of course, his contract or the clause and the dealings with him and trying to move him on, terminate it, whatever they have to do to move forward in the process. Now, let's switch it a little bit over. Still talking players, but let's talk about future options of players that Juventus are maybe potentially targeting, who they're going to get. Obviously, all this can still change with a guy like Gentoli or somebody else coming through. But first up, we talk about the midfield in there, and we're looking at a guy like Fratesi. Romeo Agresti says that Juventus are actually convinced that Fratesi could be a very useful player for the club and has worked on that track in recent weeks. So that's definitely a guy that they're actually going to pursue. Young, talented, obviously Italian player. Be interested to see him go in. We remember Milan were interested before, I think with Roma as well. Definitely looking at the player. We'll see what the competition looks like once we get further into the summer. Name that a lot of people have been really, really hype on. I understand this one's been drug out and maybe even through the mud for so many years at this point, but we got to talk about it. And that of Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. Romeo Agresti kind of shushes that one and says there's nothing on Savic that he's heard. I think it's more Milan that is thinking about getting him now. So I guess congratulations to Milan for getting a great player while Juventus do more things that Juventus does and disappoints me and leaves me sitting here asking for better, wanting better. And that's where we have, once again, if that happens. But again, I understand it's a completely mess of a situation. We'll do what we can. It can always change too. Now we're going to actually get into when it comes to the administration and then, of course, the coach, maybe the point that you really, really care about and why you're here right now. So let's go ahead and talk about Giuntoli in that situation. Just more confirmation of the same from Agresti, who says that Giuntoli has an agreement with Juventus. It's just waiting now on him freeing himself from Napoli. So right now, everything still seems to point in the direction that Giuntoli will be the sporting guy, and that's exactly where they're going to move on from there. It's just Napoli, you got to figure it out. You got to just get over it and deal with it and move on, so that way we can move forward and move to a better club. Now let's continue and go on to that from there. The coaching situation, the Max Allegri of it all, and all the other guys that hopefully will be following him up. Hopefully just one guy who will actually get the damn job done. But let's talk about that. First up, Romeo Agresti says that before the 15th of June, the situation surrounding the coach will be cleared up. After employee things change, certain comments were not liked by the ownership. It's John Elkann who will make a decision. Obviously, John Elkann pretty pissed off, as most of the fans were, as I was, when he made comments saying that, basically setting expectations really low for Juventus next season, saying there will be no culture of winning, saying, basically he's just going to collect a check and we'll see what happens from there. Kind of talk from Max Allegri. Not exactly what I want to hear from the leadership and a guy making the amount of money he is making per season for this club to right the ship, the one that he has driven further into the ground since he came here. But what is interesting about that comment, though, is that the 15th of June situation surrounding the coach be cleared up. So does that mean Max Allegri will be fired or moved on? Max Allegri will be entrusted? Or does that mean you will actually have another coach installed? That's what's interesting to me, and something that could lead us in a direction to finding out who the next guy will be. As we go on, that's a great segue, because I'm going to end up talking about guys that could end up following that up. But we go into here where Romeo says that Allegri will be shown the new Juventus project, which includes a restart with lower costs. He will be asked if he recognizes himself in this project and stay. Otherwise, talks will be open on a possible agreed farewell. And that is where Elkann will show him the door and say, thank you for what you've done. Appreciate it. They put the nice little tweet out, and we move on to the future and forward to better times. What could better times be? We talked about some names of the coaches, but one kind of breaking news thing that could be maybe hinting toward what is happening with Juventus. This is maybe me reading a little bit too much into the tea leaves, but is that of Nico Schiera's report here that Igor Tudor has decided to leave Olympique Marseille. As announced by L'Equipe, the Croatian coach wants to leave since March, and his agents have already talked with Juventus. He could be a real candidate for Juve if the Bianconeri decide to sack Max Allegri. So I think there were some follow-ups after this that did say that he said it was for personal reasons and professional reasons, which is interesting in itself. But right now, I think that's one of the things we're leaning toward. A lot of people are reading, well, look at the timing. Juventus need a coach. He, has always been kind of linked with Juventus, especially obviously during his stint with Pirlo. And unfortunately, that didn't go very well. But maybe now that he can be the guy in charge, the guy with the reins, maybe he knows how to work this team together. And he's a guy who's definitely appreciated right there as a rising star in the coaching ranks. We'll see what happens from here. But that actually does it. A little bit, like I said, I got through it pretty quick, but tried to get through all those points. There were a lot of them that came out from Romeo Agresti. Guys, if you could do me a favor, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon, stay notified for all of our latest videos. You can follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter. Of course, you can follow Bianconeri Zone at Bianconeri Zone, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of that good stuff. I'll see you guys next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri. Say hello to your old lady for me.